Well, talk about a blast from the past. Hey everybody, welcome to After Action Report, your recap show for Ultimate On matches to keep you caught up on all the action. I'm your host Megs here for the Call to Action podcast channel, and oh my goodness, do I have a special episode of Friday Night Titans to break down for everybody here. But before I get started with that, I'm going to bring on my lovely co-host, the ever beautiful Miss Daniee Joy. Girl, what happened the other day?
I'm so elated.
So much to talk about, but so you guys know, we are already breaking down everything, spoiling everything. But Dan, I think without further ado, let's just jump right into the first thing we saw, and then we'll get into the thing we all want to talk about. All right, so starting off with our first scene, we see that Nick Harley and Jacoby Bancroft meet each other for the first time. They're super excited to see each other, but they're both wondering what has happened to the stars so far this year. Jacoby's really concerned. Nick suggests that he goes and talks to Roxy first. So Daniee, to start off with, what were your first impressions of what was going on with the dynamic between these two? I love that they were so excited to see each other, but did you have any inklings of kind of where this was going?
Yeah, this was so much fun to see Jacoby come back and just really concerned about what was going on with the stars and what was going on with Janine and Nick just reassuring his partner and telling him to talk to Roxy and all of that. But you know, Nick has a big history in the FCL. Big shout out to the FCL. So there was a little bit of hesitation when it came to my end on it. Just, okay, Nick, I'm going to keep my eye on you for it. And
absolutely. At some point here, Nick is going to go talk to Roxy, and we're going to jump right into our next scene. Hannah and Coy are together. Hannah's just being so happy being a merc. We see Jesse Swift come in, though, and he is not happy with Coy for leaving him and kind of leaving him high and dry in the IG division, and challenges Brandon Hannah to an IG match. And that leads us right into the intro, into the event with Mark Ellis and Rachel Cushing on the desk. Love seeing that. But Ben Bateman crashes the intro to the show. He seems impressed with the crop of rookies, but calls out one in particular as an idiot. The 3-0 Rick the Rager Radis. Rager says that he doesn't owe Ben a thing when he comes in, but gives him a chance to earn it. He's a nice guy. Ben has to find a partner that will tolerate him and play with him in a match against him and Brother Lomas. Now, Ben claims that he has friends and everybody loves me, and is going to go make some calls. And Ben is now officially on the clock to find a teammate before the next match. So, Daniee, a lot of things happen here in this first intro here. First, basically intro the entire show. What do you think about the Hornet, who previously the Hitman, being with the Mercs?
I love Brandon Hannah, the Hornet, being on the Mercs. I think it's very fun to see Brandon Hannah in this new age. I'm sure there's a keg of Red Bull inside of that Mercs headquarters over there.
And then, of course, we see the big reveal of who Ben was going to challenge. The 3-0 rookie sensation, Rick the Rager Radis, formerly of the Finstock Exchange. We're not sure kind of where his allegiances lie there at this point. But what do you think about Rager's counter to have Ben play in a teams match?
What a great idea for a match. And just Ben Bateman, I absolutely did not guess Rick Radis. Never in a million years would I have guessed Rick Radis. Never. I wouldn't have, no matter how big of a rookie sensation he is, and I am a Rick Radis fan, would have never imagined him challenging Rick Radis. So that was a lot of fun to see. And then Rick comes out in his robe and slippies.
Oh, yes.
Just strutting out and challenges him to a team match. As soon as we heard the traitor Ben Bateman say, I have a lot of friends in many places, I was very concerned and worried. But as soon as that scene happened, I couldn't control myself. I'm already still shaking from the moment, still thinking about that whole scene and that moment, because what a fun that was. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna let you keep going.
Heads up to you guys, we are gonna be dropping another episode after all this. We're gonna quick run through everything, and then we're gonna break down everything concerning this match and what comes to follow. But let's quick run back into the rest of the matches. Shout out to the intro for the Hornet coming into his match, punching out the bad guys, showing how good guy that he is. Jump right into his match against Brandon Hannah and Jesse Swift. Starting out of round one, Swift is up by 1, 7-6. Coming into round 2, Swift elects to go first, spins away from Fantasy Sci-Fi, but ends up taking Fantasy Sci-Fi on his second spin, so he's stuck with it. He comes away with 6 out of 10 points, checks down to multiple choice twice, misses one 2-point question, and it is stolen by Brandon Hanna for the full 2-point steal. This goes into Hannah's spin, who takes Wizarding World on his first spin. He comes away with 5 out of 10 points there, checking down to multiple choice twice, misses a multiple choice question and a question for 2 points, and the multiple choice question is stolen by Jesse for 1 point. And by the end of all that, Swift is still up by 1, 14-13, going into the final round, where Hannah hits a 2-pointer in Superman that bounces it back over to Jesse to hit a 2-pointer in Spider-Man, which he misses that, goes into his 3-pointer in Wizarding World, forces Jesse to have to answer a 5-pointer in Jurassic Park, which he also misses, which does give Brandon Hanna the win with a final score of 15-14. Where Brandon Hanna answered 11 of 17 questions for 65% accuracy and scored 60% of 25 available points. Jesse Swift answered 12 of 20 questions for 60% accuracy and scored 41% of 34 available points. So first off, I love seeing the dichotomy of the interactions between Brandon Hanna, who is trying so hard and is working so much to be this nice, positive personality as opposed to his hitman persona, as opposed to Jesse Swift, who was previously a merc, was kind of go-lucky himself, kind of take a little bit more of a sober approach to this match. And just as far as the match itself goes, it's going to be very interesting to see how the overall changes to the league over the entire season is going to affect the IG division.
The Inner Geekdom is such a choice division, man. So I absolutely agree. I think seeing who's going to come up in the Inner Geekdom, what's going to happen with the division this year is going to be one of the very interesting parts of this season. But getting back into the Brandon Hanna and Jesse Swift match, I think my favorite part of that match was in round 2 when Brandon Hanna had to steal that 2-point question away from Jesse Swift, and he just tells him, "Oh, I'm sorry to do this to you, buddy."
Oh yeah, trying to be so sweet and nice.
Yeah, very sweet and nice. And yeah, so Brandon Hanna coming into this new leaf, that was, this was Brandon Hanna doing what he always does: answers questions well. And it was a bummer that Jesse Swift got a really hard 5-point question and that it ended the way that it did. But I am excited to see what Brandon Hanna does with the Inner Geekdom this season, especially with this new positive outlook that he's got going on, and with Coy being on his side.
But let's jump right into what we saw next. So we start off with another scene with Rager, who is with his partner, Brother Lomas, who has some reservations about this upcoming match against Ben, claiming that Ben is he is a formidable player in the team's division, but Rager claims he is very confident that Ben did not cross a bridge that he did not burn, and that he is set up for failure, and that they're going to start off this season with a win because Ben is going to have to forfeit. This leads us right into the match itself. We have the intro of Rager and Lomas's team, which is called The Reckoning. Love the name, by the way.
Yeah.
We see Ben come in, and he thought he would have someone by now, but apparently time is running out, and he doesn't have anyone yet. Within the last minute of the challenge, he gets a text, and he has a partner. Daniee, I thought I maybe could have heard your screams from across the country. Enter in dastardly Drew Guy. Team action is back. Initial reaction was astounding. Oh, yes, of course.
Team action is back.
Sunglasses are back. We are full in, and this is full 2017-2018 dastardly Drew Guy throughout the entire match. Love to see it. But again, we're going to break all this down into our next session. So let's just jump right into the match itself, and then we'll talk and geek out about it later.
Megs, I'm going to let you get into this because you got to get into the stats.
All right, girl. Let's get into this. So starting off in round 1, team action is up by 2 with a final score in this round of 22-20, where Andrew Guy, Ben Bateman, and Rick Gratis all got perfect rounds plus the bonus. Lomas just missing out on that perfect round himself, missing that first question, coming away with 9 points in that round. I have some stats to talk about that afterwards, but let's jump into round 2. Team Action defers to have the Reckoning spin first. They spin away from 2010s and end up taking the Rocky franchise. They come away with 6 out of 10 points, missing 2 questions for the full 2 points, and have one of those stolen for 2 points by Team Action. This leads into Team Action spin. They take Tom Cruise on the first spin. Mark Ellis did not make TC Legend canon. Very sad moment there. The Team Action does come away with 8 out of 10 points, checking down a multiple choice twice, but doesn't give away any steal opportunities. So this gives Team Action a gain of 4 points to where they're now up by 6, 32-26, going into the final round, where we see that Brother Lomas takes the 2-pointer in remakes and reboots. He hits that. That sends it over to Radis to hit a 3-pointer in Tom Cruise. And this now forces the Reckoning to have to answer a 5-pointer in the category of Denzel Washington. They miss it, which gives Team Action the win via TKO with a final score of 32-31, where Team Action answered 28 of 29 questions for 97% accuracy and scored 89% of 36 available points. The Reckoning answered 25 of 29 questions for 86% accuracy and scored 74% of 42 available points. Oh my goodness. Coming in with a TKO win, and I will make special note, this is the first time that Andrew Guy has ever gotten a perfect round 1. He was very excited about that. We will talk more about that.
We all were very excited.
The closest that he has gotten is he had 3 instances where he had 7 points in round 1. This was when we had the 8-point system in round 1. So he was just missing out on that perfect round 3 different times in the 26 singles and teams matches that he's played in thus far. So very exciting. He had never gotten that close with Team Action specifically. So that just shows how he's grown as a player.
First and foremost, you got to give it up for the Reckoning. They did an excellent job with this match. What is it, 25 out of 29? Is that what it was?
Yeah, 25 out of 29.
25 out of 29.
Accuracy? Nothing to sneeze at all.
No, at all. And not only that, not only being able to keep up trivia-wise, back and forth with it, being able to keep up heel-wise, just banter-wise, going back and forth the way that they did. You couldn't have picked a better team to go against Team Action for coming back into their debut. Big shout out to Brother Lomas. It is good to see you in color, my dude. Thank you for coming out of your black and white phase and coming into the new era with some color. We love it. We appreciate it. Ricky Radis, thank you so much for doing what you do and coming in as one of the newer heels in the game and doing it in a way I hate you so much because I like you so much. You're so entertaining to watch, but I just want to watch you lose sometimes. And that's what makes it fun. So big shout out to the Reckoning. That was such a fun match to watch. Team Action came in and they played the game the way that they always play the game. Here's the deal with Team Action. Team Action is not only one of the best entertainers in this game, they're also one of the best teams in this league. They have always been a great team together. That challenge in round, round 2? Was it round 2? When they pulled that challenge off in round 2, you instantly saw the switch inside of them, and they became the players that they are inside of the league, which is a very rightful challenge. As soon as Mark Ellis said that answer was wrong, I was like, hold on. And then Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman came with their knowledge of the game, with their confidence of the game and everything behind it. So that challenge was extremely warranted, and I'm so happy that they pulled it off, and it was so good to see them come and be the players that they are, and for everyone else in this league to see the players that they are, because they did that. Okay, and shout out to Brother Lomas for trying to defend it, because that was a good defense. I do think that was a really good defense on Brother Lomas's part of it, but that challenge is why Team Action is one of the best teams inside of the league. I will stand on this hill until the days that I die. I will always be Team Action from day one, pulling it out inside, spinning TC Legend. I screamed. It was the way that they spun the wheel, also the way they decided to spin the wheel. Team Action, I believe, is the first team to ever spin a wheel together as a team, and we love and appreciate them for that. And that is the power of the Action Army, because with that force, they landed on TC Legend. TC
Absolutely.
Legend, and crushed it. They played smart. They went to multiple choice when they needed to. They asked for a repeat when they needed to make sure that they stayed on their game. And they did that. Y'all. Team Action came to show you they didn't have to answer any questions in round 3 because they TKO'd like Team Action does. That was the best way for team. Like, if Team Action as a team never plays again, I'm fine. This is exactly how I would want Team Action to end as a team. They started with a TKO, let them end on a TKO. We're going to round this story full circle. Andrew Guy has talked about coming in and being a manager for Ben Bateman.
It is confirmed that Radis and Ben are going to play against each other in singles as the main event for next week, so get excited for that. And Guy is going to be managing Ben. On that note, also, before we get into our final scene of the night, it's going to be interesting to see what that dynamic looks like because we don't know yet where Kate stands on this. You know, we've heard nothing from her yet. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that dynamic turns into with Ben being a part of the Den, teaming up with Guy currently. We don't know where everyone's going to land by the end of this. So that makes me super excited. We're unsure. And that's what makes this season so fun is we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And we are just along for the ride. And I am all for it.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump into our final scene before we get out of here. So we're going to get a resolution to what was happening at the very beginning of the match because we see that Roxy is talking to Chandru and Mr. Irwin. We see Nick and Jacoby come crashing in, and Nick lets Jacoby start talking first, who he probably says that this wasn't what he thought the stars were. He wants to get back to how things were. To which Roxy replies to Jacoby that Jacoby is showing the same loser quality as Smets and Janine, breaking his heart, and that he hasn't been listening to her at all, to not trust anyone. And we see that Nick walks over to Roxy and joins the rest of the stars, and they all collectively tell Jacoby to leave. My heart broke for Jacoby in this moment. He is such a beloved character. It is a very interesting, it was something that I maybe could have seen coming, but I didn't want it to happen because I loved Nick and Jacoby as a team. It is very interesting to see Nick kind of going back to his heel roots from the FCL, as we mentioned too earlier. But overall, what is going on with Roxy and her new squad this year?
Roxy has changed. And
according to her, she really hasn't, but
no. Yeah.
We're conflicted here.
No, the super conflicted here because of everything that has gone on. I love Kevin. I love Janine. I love Jacoby. These are all fantastic people. And I love Irwin. And Mr. Irwin scares me now. Mr. Irwin has asked you to leave his office. Okay. I would tremble in my boots. And that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to see with Jacoby, with everything that happened with Jacoby, everything that's going on with Roxy. Man, I really hope Jacoby lands in a very safe space.
Yes, he needs to be hugged and just needs to be who he is.
Yes.
No one change him. Just let him be. He's a sweet guy. Just let him be that.
But yes, I do hope to see Jacoby in there because Jacoby can play the game. Jacoby can answer some questions. And just his positivity inside of the Schmodown, he's a ray of sunshine. And I hope that he brings some light into maybe a dark and gloomy place inside of the Schmodown.
I have a feeling you have an idea where this young man might want to end up at some point.
I hope so.
Yes, indeed. Well, we shall see what is going to be happening, but we're going to go ahead and sign off right now. But again, we're going to be jumping back in later on with a full breakdown of more of the things happening, stats and storylines coming your way. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode, but don't worry, we're going to be back next week, and we're going to be back later on with another second part to this episode, but definitely next week, talking about everything that happens during Friday Night Titans. If you haven't already, please make sure that you have hit like on this video, you're leaving comments, and you're subscribed to this channel so you're made aware every time we drop new videos on this channel. Be sure to also check out everything else we have here on the YouTube channel, as well as over on Twitch. Feel free to throw comments in this video, and if you want to contact either Daniee or myself on socials, they're listed in the description of this video. I'm going to be posting the graphics that I go over as far as the matches on social media, so be on the lookout for those. But until next time, for Daniee and the entire Call to Action podcast crew, I'm your host, Megs, and this is After Action Report, signing off.